Hey, so good night. I'm Jorge Antonio, and I'm going to talk about the movie Mean Girls. Um, what I think about the movie is that it's a very fun movie, a movie that kind of makes you think about many things that one could be doing when they are in school with all these social group dynamics. Um, the category of the movie is comedy and chick flick, sort of. Um, the reason I think this it's because a lot of the movie's efforts are a lot of the scenes are really directed towards causing a comic reaction in the viewers, such as the scenes where Katie imagines her friends and the public around her as animals in Africa. Um, also, uh, the let's talk about some aspects of the film. Um, on figures of speech, I think the movie uses a lot of um, satire towards, um, in the sense that Katie sort of becomes a satire of Regina George. It also uses a lot of exaggeration uh, in all the scenes that make up uh, Katie's imaginings of her peers as wild animals. Um, I think the acting was very good, and it's especially notable at the beginning when Janice and her gay friend immediately accept Katie, and also towards the end. Uh, they always seem very accepting and very trusting of her, even though she betrays them at the middle of the movie. Um, about the editing, I feel that there were a lot of jump cuts, and I guess that's like uh, the most type of used transition in the movie is a jump cut. Uh, the framing of the movie and the perspective of the camera uh, really are used to determine like the relationship that two particular subjects have in a precise moment, like when Katie and Regina George's ex-boyfriend are talking. The camera the camera usually starts uh, far from them, but as time progresses, it gets closer and closer because every time they talk, they get to a point where they feel like they want to kiss or something because they feel uh, a lot for one another. Uh, I also remember this particular scene after when Regina George is spreading the pages of the Bourne book around the school, the perspective of the camera is from the floor looking down, as if looking at Regina, saying that she's the powerful person in this part. And also, it's weird because when Katie at the end receives the crown, uh, the camera angle is the same. It's looking up to her, and then when we see through her perspective, it's looking down at people, like if she was the leader in the group. But always when Regina George is shown from, we see Regina George as from a floor perspective. It always the perspective always gets even. It always looks makes them look directly in the eye to each other. It never stays up, looking up at her. The lighting, it was really, I believe it was particularly consistent throughout the movie, except in the emotional scenes, um, particularly when Katie and Regina's ex-boyfriend uh, talk. Also, when moments of a lot of emotional tension happened, like the moment Regina betrays Katie by kissing her ex-boyfriend, and when Katie is talking to Regina's ex-boyfriend, they usually those scenes usually happen in settings that make the light go down, to say it in a way. Like it happens in a dark room, or a sort of dark room with twilight lighting, or it happens at night. Um, Colors in this movie are I think they the most the more experimentation of colors happens in the way uh, the characters dress, uh, because at the end, when everybody's happy, everyone has bright clothes. Um, Even only Katie, who isn't like enormously happy like everybody else, wears more more dark colors on her jacket and on her clothes. Uh, and when everyone when the moments of high tension, you everyone is wearing sort of darkish clothes, particularly Regina George, when she reveals that she's wearing sweatpants because she feels it's the only thing that fits her. Those clothes are dark, revealing how she feels inside of her. So it's one way that the movie plays with colors on the clothes on the characters. Um, so yeah, um, I think um, that this is a good movie. It's a fun movie with a bit of cinematographic value. Uh, Maybe it's not an art movie, but it does have a nice handling of cinematographic elements and cinematographic resources to deliver a very good movie. Uh, at least an entertaining movie, a satisfying movie, and that those are my arguments for it. So, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. Good night.